Welcome to the Edward Fowler Show, live on YouTube.com. Just to say, my guest is running late today for the first time on the Edward Fowler Show. So, in the meantime, as you can see on your screen, Chris Harris, the Wildcat, former WCW and TNA wrestler, who is returning to TNA's One Night Only. Here we go. He's interrupting me, but we're going to bring him on the air right now, I believe. So, as we're just going to introduce my guest in a moment, the Chris Wildcat, as I was just saying, is on the Fowler Show this coming Monday at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK time. But we're joined in the studio live right now with my guest, a referee for PWX, Premier Wrestling. Can you help me out there? PWX, Premier Wrestling Excitement, is it?
Experience.
Almost. My apologies. And also works for National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA. You can watch every Tuesday on YouTube, 6:05 p.m. Eastern, for NWA Power. And it is Jarrod Fritz, I'm going to say. Apologies if I got your name wrong there. But welcome to the show again.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm glad we got you on the show because I thought you'd be on in another minute. So, but I'm happy you're here. We're live. And how are you doing today?
Doing really well now that I'm out of traffic. Just ran into a bit of traffic coming into the office this morning. So
that's good to hear. Hopefully not too much traffic for you on this lovely Friday. And again, I just capture the people here because I didn't plan this, by the way. As you remember on Wednesday night, if you watched the show on Wednesday night, I said to you, we're live on Monday. So what I did yesterday, I emailed Jarrod because we were in negotiations with Jarrod. He was one of the 3 people I was in negotiations with to get him on the show. And I emailed him, didn't think I would actually get him on the show this soon. But we just emailed back and forward, and he was free at this time, and I thought, okay, why not? And here he is. So a pleasure to have you back on the show again. And let's talk about PWX. Last month they had a great 2-night show, and tell us about the atmosphere on that show. Because we spoke to John Schuyler a few weeks ago, and he was very impressed with the atmosphere and the way things went in the actual 2-night show.
Oh, absolutely. The energy from a lot of the PWX fans, which we have consistent fans that are there all the time, and then we always have some surprise fans that come from all over. But the energy is always very intense there, just like any wrestling atmosphere, if you think about it. There's high energies and there's low energies. Everybody has their own opinion, but I always have nothing but the most respect for the crowds that are there. They help pump me up to do my best, and I'm super thankful for all of them being there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it was a great night, 2-night event, wasn't it? And, tell us about some of your favorite moments of the 2-night show, and, tell us which matches you enjoyed to be a part of. Unless you're going to say, I enjoyed every single match because you can't be biased towards a particular match.
You don't want to be biased, but there are certain matches that I like for certain reasons. Unfortunately, I took a pretty big bump in the last match there. Yes, so that's one that we could say that's not necessarily going to be a favorite of mine, just because I did take the bump. But it was a fantastic match for the parts that I was there. Harlem Bravado is an incredible talent, and oddly enough, I got to work every single match that he had between the 2 days, which was fantastic. Great guy, amazing talent, definitely an unsigned hype. His match with Nathan Cruz was very, very sentimental to me, I guess you could say. I've never really worked a lot of British style matches, and even though they didn't go into the full British style, they did have a lot of aspects of that, and it was a very emotional match, I felt. The setup for it was amazing. Both of those guys are super talented. A lot of eyes need to be on those guys. Of course, the match with Schuyler and Harlem was fantastic. Schuyler is one of the guys who helped train me. I've had the honor to work with him all throughout my almost 6 years of doing wrestling now, and it's always a pleasure to work with his matches too.
Wow, can you believe it? 6 years in the business already? Wow, because the way you present yourself on camera. It's like you've been doing it for like over 10 years. So, it's quite surprising. Only 6 years. Wow. Oh, I hope you last another 10 years or so, even longer than that to say. But, I wish it for 16 years to come. So, great 2 nights. Again, you talk about the big bump you took there. And, you went flying out the ring during that match. And then we had the referee, Kevin Pierce, I think his name is, won out and replaced you. And he did the rest of the action while you just napped. Anyway. But let's talk about this. Because I saw this on your social media. And there's a person, I can't remember his name, but he posted something on your social media about how grateful he's glad to see yourself on the NWA, part of their company, part of the pay-per-views and such, and seeing Kevin Pierce a part of the New Japan Pro Wrestling American tour, I think it was. Tell us about how did all this happen? How did you get yourself involved with the NWA? Because it's quite cool. It's quite cool to be part of a brand new, well, not really brand new, but it's a brand new company which has come back from the past. New energy, new atmosphere, positive vibes all over the place. Everyone seems very keen to do the best they can do to make sure the NWA is one of the best talked about shows of the week.
Absolutely. I've always been a big fan of the NWA with its peaks and valleys all throughout the years. In my opinion, it's a promotion that distributes nothing but professionalism and excitement. And with the resurgence of what they're doing as it started coming back, I reached out to a couple of people to just figure out what would it take to become an official with that. Mm-hmm. And during the first round of recordings, I wasn't able to do anything with them, but into the Fire pay-per-view and the second round of recordings, I got the invite to come down, get a tryout, and everything's been awesome since then, and I'm super thankful to work with everybody in that locker room on all aspects of it. Like I said, it's seriously nothing but professionalism, and that's something that I'm deeply attracted to myself. I think wrestling, where it is right now, is awesome because it's very diverse and there's a lot of different types of wrestling. Me personally, I'm more into technical wrestling. I'm more into very serious professional wrestling. And I think the NWA is a great fit for the style that I like and the style that I like to work with.
Yeah, it's the boy in like an old school kind of feel, nice studio audio. I do like the layout of the NWA, and for some reason, it makes me very hyped to tune in every week. Because of course, for our UK viewers like myself, we can't tune in at 6:05 p.m. Eastern. Well, we can, but it'll be at 11:05 p.m. UK time. So most of us, like myself, will probably watch it in the morning, okay? But it does feel it makes me excited to tune into something different. It feels fresher and new energy and something different from, the other companies you see out there. And what's been some of your favourite bits so far about working in this old school kind of field? Do you get a bit excited when you first walked in to the studio?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was very surreal to see it for the very first time. It's almost like any landmark that you see for the very first time. You've seen it and you've heard about it for many, many years, and then you finally see it and it's real to you. Of course, just like any match, any opportunity, any promotion that I get to work with, I still get butterflies in the stomach. I still get anxiety, but I think that's a good thing. It helps myself do the best that I possibly can. And it's just been a very great opportunity that I'm super thankful for. And it was funny because Into the Fire, I wasn't 100% sure if I was actually going to be a part of that. I was actually being brought in to do some massage therapy work in the locker room, and then they granted me a match, which was pretty awesome, pretty scary at the same time because I'd never worked with the promotion or with the two people that I actually worked with in that match. So, but it was good time.
It is a good time, and can we confirm that you are now a regular at the NWA as well? Is that confirmed, or is that still up in the air?
As far as I know, I am an employee with NWA.
Nice.
There's no contracts, but I do work with the NWA. So as far as I know right now, they keep asking me back, and I'm going to keep going.
Good to hear. I mean, again, we get all the big names on this show, so I'm glad we can say your big name on this show as well. Now we're at the NWA, and let's talk about the last pay-per-view, Hard Times. Of course, your first pay-per-view, I think it was Into the Fire, as you said. I think is that correct?
Yes, I actually had only one match in that pay-per-view. It was the debuting Tasha Steelz versus Thunder Rosa.
Oh, nice. That's right. I remember that, and it was a good match. That I enjoyed it. And what was the atmosphere like backstage when you got told this information? Were the two gals happy with that?
As far as I know, they were very welcoming to me. Gave me all the information that I needed to, and I think everything went smoothly.
Good to hear. That's good to hear. And then we fast forward to Hard Times, which just happened a few weeks ago on Fight TV. Again, you can still watch it on Fight TV. About $20, $19.99 to be exact, but around $20, $20 maybe to watch it. And it was a great, fantastic show. There's some phenomenal matches on that card, and you got to referee some great matches, didn't you? From some tag team matches and some great singles matches, and it was a great show altogether. And you got on the nerves of Scott Steiner. How did you do that?
I've had the pleasure of working with Scott several times in the indie series here locally in the Southeast. So we're familiar with each other, but he's an intense guy, and you never know. He's very unpredictable, and apparently I just wasn't one of his favorites that night. Yeah,
you weren't. And for some of us want to know this information, what actually expired between you and Scott Steiner? Because for some of us, we're saying that it froze when the exact moment he did something to you. So if you could just walk us through the moments of the exchange, if that's okay.
Well, question mark came in and interfered in the match, so I had to do my duties and disqualify the match.
Yeah. And you then left the ring at this point, and then
I did. He had taken question mark and put him in the Steiner recliner, and I was trying to stop him. At that point, he forced me to get back into the ring, of which I was trying to break the hold at that point.
Gotcha.
Which he did, and then he took me and decided to take me out of the ring the hard way.
I see, gotcha. I was going to say, wondering, I think to myself, why is he coming back into the ring? He should have just left and went backstage and just let other people run out and deal with it, But now it makes sense, and it makes more understanding. So thank you for that, Jarrod. And let's talk about you referee some of the biggest in this scene, and who do you think will be a breakout star in PWX? We asked that same question to John Schuyler as well. So in your opinion, who do you think will be a breakout star this year?
So let's see. As far as PWX goes, sticking mainly with that roster, there's a lot of talent in there. But if I'd have to narrow it down, which I don't think I could even narrow it down to one, I'd have to say TJ Boss and Lucky Ali. Both have a lot of talent in them. Of course, Lucky Ali is a very young guy that has super potential. TJ Boss has been around for a long time, and he's finally getting a resurgence. So those two are usually my picks at this point.
Interesting picks. Now we also had on Jason Cade on this show. I'm sure you know who he is from your time with working with him. I'm sure he's quite the character, isn't he? He was calling me insulting, rude at times. I'm sure you can tell I'm not being insulting or rude to you so far. But is he always like that?
Jason Cade is a character on his own that I don't think runs on the same wavelength as most of us. Talented guy, but just like some of the other wrestlers out there, very unpredictable.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, he is very unpredictable. But his catchphrase at the moment, his slogan is to be the better person. And I think you're a better person than Jason Cade is. That's my opinion. Do you think he's a good person? I don't think he is.
Well, I think it's safe to say that at this point in his junction, he's not the nicest person out there, but I think there's definitely potential there.
Great. I'm glad I'm not the only person who thought that he was not a nice person, because he was trying to say I was a bad person in the situation, so I'm glad I wasn't. Let's talk to you about then, it was announced, I think on the pay-per-view, I could be wrong, or even the week after on NWA Power, that the Crockett Cup is returning in April. It features tag teams, I believe. Are you looking forward to that in April?
Absolutely. The legacy of the Crockett Cup is just intense. And, I'm excited to see, because nobody even at this point really knows who all is going to be a part of it. So I'm really excited to see what teams get entered into that tournament and see where it goes from there.
Yeah. Well, I give you one prediction. I think one of the teams will be definitely in the Crockett Cup will be the Dawson's brothers. They are a phenomenal tag team in the NWA. Absolutely. And we've actually reached out to them, but so far no response. Maybe because they're not allowed to come on the show because of the NWA. Who knows? Maybe Joey can give us a good word in. So as we were talking about as well, then who do you think? Who would you love to see come to the NWA? Then is there anyone who you would love to see in the NWA sometime soon?
I had extremely high hopes for Killer Cross coming in. As we all know, he just got signed with WWE, which is fantastic for him. That guy is probably one of the nicest, most humble guys I've ever had the opportunity to work with. Intense. I love his style. So that was my big pick as far as a surprise goes, if you will. There's so many great talents out on the indies right now. I'm definitely going to be biased and partial to the fact that I think John Schuyler is a great talent and deserves to be signed anywhere at this point in his career. He's been a part of just about every promotion that's out there. So I would definitely like to see him come out there into NWA.
Yeah, well, the thing was, we had teased it on his interview when he was on there a few weeks ago. I said, well, you got a connection in PWA, so you can have you get into the NWA. Didn't name you, but I said, do you know the film I'm talking about? And he said, I'm pretty sure I do. So, and that was you who I was talking about. I don't know who was maybe watching. I meant Jarrod here on the Edward Fowler show. Again, we did ask for your questions, and two of you did get in touch with us, which is fantastic. Of course, it was 11 a.m. Eastern when I tweeted this out yesterday, so no wonder we got questions at that time in the morning. It was from a guy called Joseph on Twitter. Thank you for your question. It was, how awesome is it to work with Nick Aldis and Kemmerly Brick, if that's how you pronounce it?
So to be in the locker room with all of the talents is incredible. I haven't had the opportunity yet to work with Nick in a match, but just anytime I've been around him, he is probably the most professional person I've ever been around in the business. Camille is intense. I've had the opportunity to work with her in the indies before. She's an incredible woman. So I really can't speak more highly enough about those two.
That's good to hear. Well, we do hope that you get to work with Nick at some point in the next coming weeks and months along. Of course, we can't give away in the NWA Power because, of course, they're pre-taped and we don't want any spoilers to come out because that will ruin the show for myself and for us who will be watching this, so we're not going to talk about that. We will talk about a little bit about it, but no spoilers involved about that. And the other question that came in to our studio was from a guy called Salwick of Chaos. Again, that's if you pronounce it properly. Thank you for your question. It was, when was the exact moment you knew you would do this for a living, and or who inspired you the most? That's a good question.
Man, that is a good question. Let's see. So I've been doing this for about 6 years. Started training about 7 years ago. And back at that time, it was more or less the intention was more of a hobby, if you will,
Gotcha.
Because I have several businesses of my own that I run currently. So I would have to say, honestly, when I finally got an opportunity to work with PWX for the very first time, and I got some accolades from the office there, I saw that it was actual potential to do something a little bit more. And just recently, I actually had Jason Ayers from WWE reach out to me personally to give me some accolades, and that really kind of refortified my confidence into it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I would have to say, when it comes to pure inspiration, I've always been a driven type of person, but my wife gives me a lot of support and a lot of encouragement, and she makes me a better man. And I kind of do it for her and my two stepsons to try to show them that just about anything's possible if you put your mind and your drive to it. So she inspires me all the time. Some of my favorite referees to, of course, get inspiration from afar, if you will, is Tommy Young and Charles Robinson. I just love watching their work. There's a former NWA referee, Jeff Capo, who works kind of hand in hand with PWX, who's given me a lot of great advice over the years and helped me kind of tweak some things. So a lot of kudos out to him. But yeah, so and then of course my trainers, John Schuyler and Bob Keller, have just always been there for me in some of the worst times, some of the worst matches, worst events that I thought could have been the downfall to my career. And just there's no mistakes. There's only learning experiences. So
yeah, absolutely. And let's move on to your company. You own several companies, but the one I actually mentioned to you, and it is called, I believe, again, you can correct me now if I do get this wrong, the pronunciation of it wrong. It's called Defined Therapeutic Massage Company. Something on the lines of that.
Defined Therapeutic Massage.
Based in South Carolina, that's where you are from, the Carolinas. And tell us about what got you involved in doing massages and therapeutic things. Was this came from a younger age, or is this something you just fell in love with?
Well, I've been doing it for about 15 years. At the time that I started going to school for massage therapy, it was actually in school for essentially pre-med, but I just didn't want to go to school and take out all the loans. So massage therapy was presented to me as an option, and I really wasn't interested in it at that time. But luckily, the administrator of the massage therapy program at the time used to be an athletic trainer. He was an EMT. His name's Steve Jerch. He's been my mentor the whole entire time, and he showed me almost as soon as I got into the class that massage therapy is more than just candles and incense and frou-frou-la-la stuff. It can actually really help people become better and healthier. And then I got the opportunity to work with the U.S. women's soccer team at the '08 Olympics, and I learned how valuable that massage therapy can be to athletes. And so now, with my passion for professional wrestling and my passion for massage therapy, I'm able to work those two hand in hand. So pretty much every time I'm on a show anywhere, independently or with NWA, I come out and I provide massage therapy when it's needed.
There you go. So we got all the best names and it's best kept secret here on YouTube. Believe me, we've had all sorts of people on this show since June of last year, and it's a phenomenal job you do, and it helps yourself to take a break as well. It's like a nice relaxing atmosphere. I hope that is correct, because when I've seen videos and stuff, it does seem relaxed. The trainers are nice and relaxed, and I've read some of the feedback you've got from people you help to train and to get better and get in better shape, and they've all said, you're the man, go speak to Jarrod, he will look after you and get you back where you need to be. And by speaking with you for the past almost half an hour, it's I can believe that, and it is true. So I hope you keep at it and keep doing it for as long as you can, because it's definitely helping people, and it's helping you as well, because your name is on Google. So as soon as you just have your name, it just pops up, you and all your work now. So there you go, you're Google, you're famous.
Google famous. Now it's
official. Indeed, you are Google famous. And also as well, let's talk about who you want to work with this year. Then you've not worked with Nick yet. You worked a bit, I believe, with James Storm. The cowboy. You want to work with him more often in the NWA or anywhere else you may see him?
Absolutely. When it comes to NWA, it is one of my goals in my career to be able to at least officiate one World Heavyweight Championship match, preferably with Nick, because he's such a great guy. But we'll see what the future holds as far as that goes. I've got the opportunity to work with James Storm several times on the Indies and through NWA. Great guy, always fun to work with him. Now that there's an opportunity to work with Camille again in the NWA atmosphere versus the Indies, that would be fantastic. I really had some desires to work with Killer Cross again, but of course, now that he's with WWE, I'm not sure that opportunity will be there that much more.
Well, never say never. Anything's possible.
Never say never. Yep.
Anything's possible. You never. This time next year, you could be in WWE with Killer Cross, so you never know what may happen, or vice versa. You might leave and come to the NWA, so you never know what may happen in a year from now, or even in 6 months, or even next week.
Absolutely.
Let's talk to you about your social medias. Now, without this show, your social media are on the screen. And for anyone who may be listening and not actually watching this, where can they find you on social media? Because I've just named your main ones, but you also have your company ones that are not listed. So feel free to plug them as well.
Yeah, really, I do a lot of my main focus on Twitter is mostly wrestling. I do have one for my business, but it's fairly inactive, so I'm not even going to bother sharing that with you guys. Okay. But you can view my my website, which is definedmassage.com. You can find me on Instagram, which is just Jarrod.Fritz. I try to keep that as a full personal development style page that'll innovate all of the things that I do together there. On Twitter, of course, the handle you guys see is JFritz Ref Fit, or sorry, JFritz Ref Life.
Yeah.
There. And then, sorry. No. And then just find me on Facebook. It's Jarrod C. Fritz LMT.
Or Jarrod Fritz Referee like page.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's one we listed. And again, it is 10:30 in the morning, so he is quite waking up to. You got to give him that. That's not just because I could use at 3 o'clock in the afternoon here because hardly gone, and I should be wide awake. So we can give you that excuse for you, Joe, because it's late morning. You might have run up half an hour ago. Who knows what you may have done half an hour ago? But also, I want to know. Then on Monday, we're interviewing Chris Harris, the Wildcat, who's returning to TNA. There's no place like home at WrestleCon in April. Do you think maybe James Storm might go back to that event and maybe team up with Chris Harris for one night only?
I have no idea. I really try. One of the things that I absolutely like about my position as a wrestling official, no matter who I meet in the locker rooms or not, is I like to keep my focus on doing what I do as far as a referee and kind of staying out of the news and the politics. Yeah. So that way, when things do happen, it is truly a surprise to me, just the same.
But do you think he might? Because, Chris Harris is going, and they were a tag team, America's Most Wanted.
Well, you never know.
You never know. You never know.
Just never know.
Well, one thing you can do for me is you can pass on to James Storm to check out my interview with Chris Harris. Make sure you do that next time you see him. Probably in April, maybe, or maybe in March, depending how far you get a shot for the NWA Power. So make sure you do pass that on to him, if you can remember by then. And what can we expect from you over the next few months on the NWA Power and, of course, PWS, because they've signed a new internet streaming service to show all their events, and that's huge news for them. And, of course, Jason Cade says, all thanks to him. Do you believe that?
No, not in the least. There's a lot of heads working in backstage that I think far surpass Jason Cade there, but he's going to take credit wherever he can. But as far as what to expect, there's a lot of exciting things that are happening with PWX and with NWA. Just like I like everything to be a surprise, I want it to be a surprise for you guys just the same. But what I can say is that you're not going to be disappointed, so be sure to tune in every Tuesday night at 6:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for NWA Power, and keep your eyes out for PWX when they've got their live streams going on.
Yeah, indeed. And one more question, because we've just gone half an hour.
Shoot.
And I know you said you've only got half an hour, so I apologize for running over now. Who would you suggest me to get in contact with next? Because again, we've had on all people. I don't know if I tell you on the email that I've had on a 4-time Emmy Award-winning broadcaster Chris Van Vliet, who came to the NWA Power, part of the Hard Times, and he attended one of the tapings for the NWA Power a few days after that. And, Ring of Honor guys, MLW, even UFC fighters, I'm now in the link with those guys. And, of course, Ewan Adams, who I must mention, is fighting tomorrow night on the UFC pay-per-view 247 on ESPN+. Make sure you watch it to see my man in action there. Best luck to Ewan Adams on his victory.
Well, let's see. Two guys that I think are just a wealth of experience, great guys. Tim Storm and Trevor Murdoch are fantastic guys. And from a personal standpoint, I think that Brian Hebner would be a great interview at some point in the future. He's a fantastic guy. He's been a mentor for me working with NWA. So those are my top three. I guess I could share on to you.
Well, thank you very much. And I must say to you that I reached out to Trevor Murdoch, a few weeks ago. Still no response, so maybe you can pass that on to him, not to check his emails, or maybe you might, and give on that he's actually a good guy and he's actually real, so make sure you do pass that on to him. I like how you mentioned about Tim Storm, great guy, great for a wrestler at his age as well, because he's quite an old-timer, but he can still go. And he looks young, but the things he does in the ring, he looks like he's a 30 or 20-year-old, not like 50-odd or even 60-odd. I think he's in his early 60s, I think he is, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And even, of course, Brian Hebner, the senior referee of NWA, one of the best in the world, I have to say, and he's on my list. I have tried to tweet him a few times, but so far no response from him. Not to do the podcast, just in general, ages ago. So, but yeah, we will try my best to get them on the show.
Fantastic.
It is fantastic. And again, Jarrod, you can find him on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I must mention that I did put his social medias on the screen, but I'm actually going to show you quickly before we go. Here is that this is his Twitter account. No, it's not. That's somebody else's Twitter account. Okay. I don't know where it's gone. Oh, I know. I put it on this screen. I know why. There we go. If I go on this screen, now I do it. If it will work. There we go. So on this screen, it is Jarrod Fritz Referee. Please like it and help him to get more followers and likes and share his page around. I don't know. It doesn't say how many likes you've got altogether, but you must be up there now. And on Twitter, 850 followers on Twitter. So make sure you do follow him on Twitter. He's taken part in the Steve Austin Broken Score Challenge back in the day as well. It was a great opportunity for you as well, and to meet one of the best in the business at the time. And you can find him on Instagram, Jarrod.Frizz, with 1,551 followers. Help him to get to 2,000 followers, and it would mean a lot to Jarrod Fritz there. And again, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, man. And what's next for your day now in the life of Jarrod? What's next on your agenda today?
Well, I've got a little bit of paperwork to do here at the office, and I've got several appointments, and then heading home to spend time with my wife. Nice.
Sounds like a good day. Not much to do, really. Well, it has been a pleasure as always, Jarrod, and I do hope you'll come back on the show again. I do hope, because this one is kept. It's not like disappeared. This one is available anytime, any place, anywhere. And we look forward to it. And don't forget, this Monday, Chris Harris is on the show. And have you got any questions you want me to ask him for you?
No, I'm good, man.
No, you don't
want
him
so
to
much
come
for
to the
having
NWA? You don't want him to come to the NWA?
It would be nice.
It'd be nice. I'll pass on the nice comments. Just stay on the phone, as I want to discuss one more thing with you before we hang this up. But from all of us, from the Edward Fowler Show, enjoy the rest of your Friday, and I'll be back on Monday, 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern, with my guest, the Wildcat Chris Harris, one of the first big ones of the year. See you then.
Say that one more time. Sorry, you broke up a little bit.